Arthur crept through the vessel's throat, bent low and breath ragged. The air clung to his chest heavily as he continued to move down the hall, silently. The walls were alive, slick, pulsing, a fusion of metal and meat. Every few steps, the ship shuddered as though sighing, expelling air that reeked of something halfway between blood and spice. Putrid cinnamon, he thought, and the scent of things dying slowly. He had stopped counting days. Time had dissolved, like an infection, spreading from the instruments that had sliced him open. He had seen the beings that took him. They were tall, boneless things, with eyes like lamps inside a thick fog. They had abducted him, dissected him, and studied the furthest reaches of his humanity. They were not cruel nor kind. They were only curious, and it was the indifference that made them monstrous. Now he was free, or so he told himself. The corridor curved ahead. Pale light flickered and trembled, painting the walls with moving shadows that almost resembled faces. The ship breathed again, slow and wet. He reached a chamber he knew. He had once screamed here until his voice shredded itself. He could still feel their instruments, their cold and reverent touch shivering down his spine. They had wanted to know what made him human, and he wondered if they had ever found their answer. A sound suddenly sprung into his ears as wet footsteps echoed from outside the chamber. Arthur slipped into a fold of flesh, hiding among the tendrils that trembled with every heartbeat of the vessel. Below, one of the beings emerged from the dark. Its elongated limbs glistened moistly, gray as fog, faceless, but watching. It crept to the center of the room where another of its kind hung from the wall, mutilated and displayed, its mouth slit upward into a grotesque smile. The standing creature hesitated and trembled with a sense of fear. The sight sickened the being, and the idea of pity from something inhuman almost made Arthur laugh aloud. He remembered pain, his own screams, their gloved hands, the humiliation of being their prey. Yet even then, beneath the terror, something older had stirred. Recognition and reward. The beings had opened him, but in doing so, they had freed him. They had made space for what had always lived beneath his skin, and this was his artwork on display. Arthur slid from the shadows, silent as the breath between heartbeats. His blade, a jagged metal as black as the ship's veins, gleamed once in the dim light. The creature turned, slow and uncertain, an echo of humanity's fear mirrored in its alien stance. It was too late. When Arthur struck, it was almost tender. A reunion between monsters. Blood splattered the walls, and the ship pulsed faster, as though feeding on the horror. Arthur smiled. Perhaps he had not been abducted. Perhaps he had been called home. The vessel shivered around him, whispering in a voice too low for words, and Arthur listened, eyes closed, hand warm with the pulse of new life. Somewhere deep within the hull, something vast stirred and purred its approval. It had now become clear. The real monsters were not his abductors. It had only ever been Arthur.